Farming, the promise of agri-tech. Farming is the foundation of our human story. For thousands of years, it has been a partnership between people and the land. Today, on this planet of nearly 8 billion souls, soon to be 10, that partnership faces its greatest test. We must grow more food than ever before, but we must do so on a world with finite resources. Farming uses vast amounts of land. Farming uses vast amounts of water. Farming uses vast amounts of energy. If we continue as we are, we risk damaging the very natural systems that give us life. We need a new way, a smarter and gentler approach. This is the promise of sustainable agri-tech, a quiet revolution happening in fields around the globe. Sustainable agri-tech is not about replacing the farmer. It is about empowering the farmer with new tools. Close-up of a farmer's hand holding a smartphone showing a colorful field map. It is the careful use of technology to grow food in a way that is kind to the earth. The digital field, sensors as a farmer's eyes and ears. To understand the data-to-harvest journey, we must begin where it starts, with the data itself. Out in the fields, small, inexpensive sensors are being deployed. They act as the farmer's extended senses, constantly monitoring conditions that dictate a plant's life. Some sensors are pushed into the earth. They measure soil moisture, they measure soil temperature, they measure soil salinity. Other sensors are mounted on posts. They read ambient air temperature, they read humidity, they measure sunlight falling on crops. These devices are the silent observers, digital watchkeepers of the field, gathering millions of data points every single day. This stream of information is the lifeblood of smart farming. Why does exact soil moisture at 30 centimeters matter? It tells a farmer when roots begin to feel water stress. Why measure nitrogen in leaves? It reveals nutritional needs before a human eye sees a problem. Some advanced sensors can even listen for pest sound frequencies, alerting the farmer before an infestation spreads. This data is transmitted wirelessly, often to a simple app on a phone or tablet, turning a flood of numbers into clear, simple insights. A farmer can see their entire operation at a glance, data displayed as a colored map: green, healthy; red, problem. A farmer in India receives an alert. Sector 4 is dry. Irrigate 15 liters per plant tomorrow morning. A farmer in California gets a notification. Aphid activity detected. Northwest corner. Deploy beneficial insects. Not about overwhelming with info, but providing timely, actionable advice. It gives power to act proactively. Solve small problems before they become big. Make decisions based on evidence, not guesswork. From reactive to proactive management. More efficient and sustainable. Instead of walking fields for hours, a farmer gets a comprehensive health report in seconds. Saves enormous time and labor, vital for solo or small team farmers. Sensors become trusted partners in daily food growing. They provide deeper, intimate understanding of the land, allowing care and precision not possible for previous generations. The digital field is more responsive and more productive. More crop per drop. Smart water and soil stewardship. Water is life, and nowhere is this truer than in agriculture. Farming accounts for roughly 70% of all freshwater withdrawn globally. Increasing droughts and strained water supplies mean we must use water more wisely. Smart irrigation systems, guided by data from soil moisture sensors, can dramatically reduce water consumption. Flood irrigation wastes water. Sprinklers lose much to evaporation. Precision systems deliver water to the plant's root zone, only when needed. This technique is known as precision irrigation. The savings are truly remarkable. Studies show smart irrigation can cut water use by 30 to 50%, in some cases even more, without sacrificing yield. For a farmer, this means lower water bills and healthier, less stressed plants. For the environment, more water stays in rivers, lakes, and aquifers. Just as important as water is the soil it falls upon. Healthy soil is a living, breathing ecosystem. Minerals, organic matter, microorganisms. It is the foundation of our entire food system. Agri-tech tools help farmers become better stewards. Drones map fields in high detail. Satellites provide broad-scale imagery. Maps show variations in soil type, organic content, and nutrient levels. This enables precision agriculture and targeted actions across zones. Applying compost only where needed. Planting cover crops only where needed. This careful management builds and preserves soil health long-term. Avoiding unnecessary plowing protects soil structure. Avoiding tilling prevents erosion. Healthy soil acts like a sponge, holding water more effectively, further reducing irrigation needs. Soil also plays a crucial role in the climate. Healthy soils are a massive carbon sink, storing more than all the world's forests combined. Using technology for conservation, tillage, and soil improvement helps pull CO2 from the atmosphere. Farmers are making agriculture part of the climate solution. The smart seed and the precision planter. The journey to a sustainable harvest begins long before a seed is even in the ground. It starts with the seed itself. For centuries, humans have been selecting and breeding plants. Better taste, larger size. Today, modern science develops crop varieties naturally more resistant to common diseases and pests, reducing the need for chemical sprays. Seeds that thrive with less water, suitable for drier climates. This is not always about genetic modification. Much of it is advanced breeding, accelerating nature's own processes. However, having a smart seed is only half the battle. How and where it is planted is just as critical, guided by GPS and a detailed soil map. A modern planter places each seed at the perfect depth and spacing to thrive. In richer soil, seeds are placed closer together. In less fertile patches, spaced further apart to reduce competition. This ensures every plant has the best chance to reach full potential. Higher yields from the same land. By maximizing each seed, farmers grow more food without clearing more forests or grasslands, protecting biodiversity and wild habitats. Precision planting reduces waste of seeds, water, nutrients, and energy, improving profitability and lessening environmental impact. Smarter seeds, smarter planting methods, more food, more sustainably, from the land we have. When we think of farm machinery, we often picture large, heavy tractors that consume a great deal of diesel. While these machines are still workhorses, a new generation is emerging, smaller, smarter, and often robotic. Designed to carry out tasks with precision and gentleness, large equipment cannot match. Drones that monitor crops from the air, robots that can pick a ripe strawberry without bruising it, making farming safer, more efficient, and better for the environment. Drones can capture high-resolution images across hundreds of acres with cameras beyond the visible spectrum. They reveal stress, lack of water, or nutrient deficiency, long before it's visible to the human eye. Treat one patch with a targeted sprayer instead of spraying an entire field. Ground robots use cameras and machine learning to identify weeds and eliminate them with a tiny jet of herbicide or a mechanical hoe, drastically reducing total weed killer used. Smaller, often electric machines cause less soil compaction, reduce fossil fuel use, cut emissions and air pollution, and improve working conditions. The rise of robots isn't about replacing people, it's about a new farm team caring for the land more effectively. The data-to-harvest journey is a complete circle, connecting the sensors in the field to the food that arrives on our tables. The information gathered from the soil, the plants, and the air does not just stay with the farmer. It travels through the entire value chain, bringing new levels of efficiency and transparency. Data is sent to the cloud, analyzed by powerful software, translating raw numbers into clear recommendations for irrigation, fertilization, and when to harvest. Farmers and advisors use dashboards to schedule harvests, arrange transport, and share forecasts with supermarkets or processors, improving predictability of timing and quantity. Knowing exactly when crops are ready reduces spoilage from poor timing, storage, or miscommunication. Trucks route efficiently, warehouses rotate stock smartly. Farmers gain reliable markets and better prices. Logistics save fuel. Retailers offer fresher produce. Consumers enjoy higher quality, sometimes even tracing food back to its field. This data trail creates a transparent, efficient, and less wasteful path from the farm to our fork. We often envision expensive, complex systems designed for vast, industrial-scale farms. But to feed 10 billion sustainably, agri-tech must be accessible and affordable for everyone, especially smallholders who produce a large share of our food. Thankfully, technology is becoming simpler and cheaper. Low-cost sensors and widespread mobile phones enable small-scale, data-driven farming. Cooperatives can share drones and portable soil sensors. Trained technicians offer testing as a service, delivering reports via simple text or voice messages. Pay-as-you-go and rent-a-tech models open precision tools without high upfront costs, leveling the playing field. Technology is enabling food to be grown in new places, bringing farms closer to the people they feed. Vertical farms grow leafy greens, herbs, even strawberries, often without soil, using hydroponic or aeroponic systems, efficient LEDs, precise climate and nutrition control. Closed-loop systems use up to 95% less water and need no pesticides, delivering year-round, ultra-fresh local produce with fewer food miles and lower emissions. The ultimate goal of sustainable agri-tech is not just to grow more food, but to do so in harmony with a healthy planet. When we look at the environmental balance sheet, the benefits are clear and compelling. Precision reduces nitrogen and phosphorus runoff into rivers and oceans, preventing harmful algal blooms and the dead zones they create, keeping drinking water cleaner and aquatic life healthier. Smart practices cut greenhouse gases. Efficient nitrogen use reduces nitrous oxide. Smaller electric machines burn less fossil fuel. Promoting no-till enhances soil health and stores more carbon. Agriculture can move from a major emissions source to a major climate solution, building resilience to droughts and extremes. Real-time data warns of frost or heat waves, giving time to protect crops. We must proceed with awareness. Sensors and robots have footprints, so build tools to last and design them to be recycled. Precision lets us grow more on less land, enabling land sparing so nature, forests, wetlands, and wildlife can recover and thrive. When used wisely, agri-tech feeds humanity while healing our planet. So yeah, it's about balance. We stand at a pivotal moment. The challenge of feeding 10 billion people sustainably is immense, but not insurmountable. The tools and the knowledge are within our grasp. The Data to Harvest journey shows a clear path forward, smarter, more productive, kinder to the earth. It connects tiny sensors in the soil to the health of our global population, linking the decisions of a single farmer to the well-being of our planet. This quiet revolution is beginning, field by field, farm by farm. But it needs our collective support to grow. This is not a change farmers can make alone. It requires action from all of us. First, buy local and seasonal. Support small and urban farmers. Reduce transport energy. Second, back rural infrastructure, farmer training, and low-cost research. Third, be vocal about reducing food waste, at home, in schools, and in our communities. For farmers, start small, a moisture sensor, a mapping flight, a new app, and measure results in water, time, and inputs. Share knowledge and resources through cooperatives and demand fair data practices so farmers own their information. The future of food is connection between data and decisions, farms and cities, humanity and nature. If we sow these seeds of change now, we can cultivate a future where people and planet truly thrive.
The world produces more than enough food to feed every single person on the planet. Yet the story of who gets to eat and what they get to eat is a tale of profound inequality. The numbers paint a picture that is both baffling and deeply unjust. Consider these simple facts. Globally, an estimated 1 in 9 people experiences chronic hunger. Up to 40% of the food supply in developed nations is wasted. This is not just about spoiled leftovers. It is about perfectly good produce discarded for cosmetic imperfections, supply chain inefficiencies, poor planning. This paradox of simultaneous hunger and waste points to a broken system. The problem is not a lack of food, but a failure of distribution, a system that prioritizes profit over people, convenience over equity. The most visible symptom of this failure is the existence of food deserts. Urban landscapes, rural landscapes, where access to fresh. The numbers below reveal the stark contrast between what is produced and who has access. About 34 million people in the United States face food insecurity. Annual food waste in the U.S. reaches about 119 billion pounds. Roughly 23.5 million U.S. residents live in food deserts. These figures are families making impossible choices, children growing up without needed nutrients, and communities locked in cycles of poor health and economic disadvantage. This essay explores the deep causes of inequitable distribution and illuminates practical, proven solutions already creating change. We will investigate how communities can reclaim their food systems, build resilience, and ensure everyone, regardless of zip code or income, has the right to good food. A journey from understanding the problem to building a more just, nourishing future for all. Food is more than a commodity. It is a fundamental human right. An inclusive and equitable food system is designed to uphold that right. The term food desert conjures an image of a barren landscape, and in many ways, that is precisely what it is, a nutritional wasteland. Officially, a food desert is defined by the USDA as a low-income census tract, where a substantial number of residents have low access to a supermarket or large grocery store. But this clinical definition barely scratches the surface of the lived reality for millions of people. It is not just about the physical distance to a store, although that is a critical barrier. For someone without a car, a 2-mile trip to the nearest grocer can be an insurmountable obstacle, especially if they are elderly, or have a disability, or are juggling young children and multiple jobs. Public transportation routes often fail to connect residential areas with grocery stores efficiently, turning a simple shopping trip into an all-day ordeal. Beyond the challenge of distance, the economic landscape of a food desert is equally harsh. In these areas, the options are typically limited to convenience stores, fast food restaurants, gas stations. These establishments primarily stock processed, pre-packaged foods, high in calories, high in sugar, high in fat, high in sodium, but devastatingly low in essential nutrients. Fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins are either absent or priced at a premium, an unaffordable luxury. The existence of food deserts and widespread food insecurity is not a simple problem of logistics. It is the outcome of a complex web: policy, economics, social structures. One of the most significant drivers is the economic reality of poverty. When a family is struggling, pay rent, utilities. The food budget is often the first and only flexible expense. This forces a choice between buying enough calories to feel full and buying nutritious food that supports long-term health. In this equation, inexpensive, calorie-dense processed foods almost always win out. Fresh produce is often more expensive, creating a direct link between income inequality and nutritional deficits. Institutional policies and government actions have also shaped this unjust food landscape. Agricultural subsidies have historically favored large-scale commodity crops, corn, soy, the base of many cheap processed foods. Fruits and vegetables from smaller farms receive far less support. Zoning laws and a lack of incentives discourage grocery stores from opening in low-income neighborhoods, while fast food outlets proliferate. Infrastructure, or the lack thereof, is another critical piece. A centralized supply chain moves massive quantities to suburban megastores, but is remarkably inefficient at serving smaller, localized markets. Small farmers often lack distribution networks. Communities lack cold storage and processing facilities. Fresh, locally grown food can rot in a field just 100 miles away from people who need it. Finally, we cannot ignore the role of systemic social and racial bias. Food deserts are disproportionately located in communities of color. This is the legacy of decades of discriminatory housing policies, redlining, economic marginalization. Market analyses often reflect these historical biases, perpetuating a cycle of disinvestment. Access to healthy food is a profound issue of racial and social justice, demanding solutions that address these deep-seated inequities. It is really that deep. A system built on dignity, choice, and justice. This could mean a mobile market in an elderly neighborhood, subsidies for fresh produce for low-income families, or supporting local farmers squeezed out by industrial agriculture. Inclusivity means every person, regardless of income, race, location, or ability, is considered and served. Equity means giving people what they need to thrive, built on dignity, choice, and justice. Yeah, that is the core idea we need to hold on to. In the face of such systemic challenges, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. Across the country and around the world, communities are refusing to accept the status quo. They are developing innovative, practical, and effective solutions. One of the most powerful models is the creation of local food hubs. These hubs act as central points for aggregation and distribution, collecting produce from small and mid-sized local farmers and connecting them with institutional buyers. Schools, hospitals, restaurants, as well as with consumers in underserved areas. By creating a bridge between local supply and local demand, food hubs cut transportation costs, provide farmers with a reliable market, and channel fresh, healthy food directly into the communities that need it most. Another highly effective strategy is the mobile market. Recognizing that not everyone can get to a grocery store, stores on wheels, buses, or trucks with refrigeration and shelving travel to community centers, apartment complexes, and senior housing. They offer fresh fruits, vegetables, dairy, and staples at affordable prices, and accept SNAP, ensuring accessibility and dignity. Food rescue programs tackle food waste head-on, partnering with stores, wholesalers, restaurants, and farms to intercept perfectly edible food, which is sorted and redistributed to pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters, turning waste into sustenance and reducing emissions. For years, Baldwin Hills in South Los Angeles was a textbook example of a food desert. Despite being a vibrant, predominantly African-American neighborhood, access to fresh food was limited. Fast food and liquor stores dominated, while the nearest supermarket was miles away. The journey was difficult for many relying on public transit, and health consequences were stark. Diabetes, heart disease, obesity, higher than in affluent areas. The turning point came from the community itself, residents, activists, and health advocates with a vision. They founded the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Farmers Market, starting small but rooted in deep engagement. It reflected local culture, offered familiar produce, and became a festive weekly gathering. Accepting EBT and doubling nutrition benefits transformed it into an essential lifeline. Access improved, diets shifted, and minority small farmers found a stable, profitable outlet, strengthening the regional food economy. Success spurred further investment in health-focused businesses. Baldwin Hills shows that community-led solutions centered on dignity and equity can reclaim a neighborhood from a food desert and build a resilient future. That is really what made the difference. Creating a fair and sustainable food distribution network is not insurmountable. It requires a thoughtful, multi-step approach grounded in community needs and designed for resilience. First, map need and opportunity. use data and community knowledge to locate deserts, identify who is affected, and where food is wasted. Simple tools, community surveys, focus groups, GIS mapping, reveal specific challenges, transportation gaps, lack of culturally appropriate foods. Then build infrastructure. Establish local food hubs in community centers, warehouses, or churches to collect, sort, store, and distribute food. Forge partnerships among farmers, community orgs, local government, and businesses. Shift to last-mile delivery. Mobile services become indispensable. Outfit a van or bus to bring produce to residential complexes and senior hubs. For limited mobility, a food pharmacy with prescriptions delivered to homes. Ensure affordability, accept SNAP, and implement incentives like double-up food bucks and market match. Tackling food inequity requires coordinated effort across government, business, nonprofits, and citizens. Governments can fund healthy food financing, build hubs, reform zoning for markets and gardens, and use procurement to source from local, sustainable farms, creating stable markets for small producers. Businesses can reevaluate models to value long-term community impact and open stores in deserts. Partner with food rescue to donate unsold food and source locally to support regional economies. Philanthropy can fund critical infrastructure. Nonprofits run rescue, gardens, mobile markets, and education, cooking, nutrition, financial literacy, scaling what works. Individuals can support local farmers, join a CSA, reduce household waste, and advocate for better policies. Collective actions, multiplied, shift demand and build momentum for an equitable system. Behind the statistics and policy discussions are real people whose daily lives are shaped by the food system. Consider the story of Maria, a single mother with her 2 young sons in a dense urban neighborhood. For years, the closest grocery was a corner store, shelves of chips, soda, canned goods. The nearest supermarket was a 45-minute bus ride, nearly impossible with 2 small children. She relied on pasta, rice, and canned vegetables. Fresh fruit was rare. Her boys were often listless and getting sick. One Friday, everything changed. A colorful mobile market stopped at the community center. She hesitated, fearing high prices, but produce was fresh and affordable, and the market accepted her SNAP card. An incentive matched the first $10, turning 10 into 20 of fresh food. She went home with apples, bananas, leafy greens, and carrots. Her boys discovered they loved the crunch. Cooking demonstrations taught simple, healthy recipes. Her grocery bill stayed about the same, but their diet transformed. Soon, Maria volunteered, helping neighbors navigate benefits. Not just a recipient, she became a builder of a healthier neighborhood. Maria's story is repeating wherever equitable food initiatives take root, delivering better health, lower costs, engagement, dignity, and hope. We stand at a critical juncture. The paradox of hunger amid plenty is not nature. It is a system we designed. Therefore, it is a system we can redesign. We possess the knowledge. We possess the resources. We possess the proven models. We can build a food system that is equitable, sustainable, and just. Not with a single silver bullet, but by weaving localized, community-driven actions, shifting from profit-centric distribution to people-centric nourishment. Change is already happening. Start where you are. Ask, where does our food come from? Who lacks healthy food? Where is food wasted? Make the invisible visible. Build connections. Form a coalition dedicated to food justice. A small committed seed becomes a movement. Act on a small scale. Each victory builds momentum. Center dignity and choice. An equitable food system empowers people. We have the food. We have the tools. We have the models. What we need now is the will. This is a call to action. Policymakers to enact just laws, businesses to invest, and each of us to participate.